The title of the poem Refugee Blues tells us a lot of what it is about, as the poem's sense of musicality is conspicuous in the title. Refugee Blues by W.H. Auden is a poem about the harsh realities of war. The dog and cat are treated humanly and kindly, though the human refugees are not. Hello everyone, this is Shobita S. Aradhya, lecturer, Department of English, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, MYSURU, the Temple of Excellence. A warm welcome to you all. Today we are going to discuss a poem called Refugee Blues. Refugee Blues is written by W.H. Auden, and in this poem he writes about the people who suffered during the Second World War and under the harsh rule of Adolf Hitler. So without delaying, let's start today's session on Refugee Blues. So we'll be discussing all this today: the poet, the title, the theme of the poem, and the poem in every line, every stanza, what it means, and then we'll discuss which are the poetic devices used here, and also we'll know the conclusion. So let us start. As I said, W.H. Auden is the poet here. He was one of the most important poets of the 20th century. So most important poets in English during 20th century, and his poems have a strong political and social message. Yes, his poems have political message and also social message. What people suffered, how was the politics of that state. So all these are mentioned in his poems. He believed that the human spirit survives best in an atmosphere of tolerance and compassion. So when they are tolerating, when they are compassionate with their fellow being, the human spirits, they survive their best. This was the belief of W.H. Auden. Some of his best known poems are Spain. One is Spain and the other is Musida Bog Arts. So these are his works. Next, the title. Why has he given the title Refugee Blues? The title of the poem Refugee Blues tells us a lot of what it is about, as the poem's sense of musicality is conspicuous in the title. So it is, the rhyme scheme is good. We can see the rhyming here, and it is musical. The poem is musical, but the thought which he has expressed in this poem is heart-melting. Here he has mentioned the condition of the Jews in Germany during Hitler's ruin. The definition of the word refugee is a person who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape war or persecution or natural disaster. During war or persecution or maybe natural disaster, the citizen of that country will be asked to leave that country. So that person who is not now the citizen of that country, who has to move to the other country and yet not become the citizen of the other country, that person at that state is called as refugee. So here people of Nazi German, they were asked to flee, or they were forced to flee because Hitler and his soldiers were killing the Jews. So when they were forced, or they did not have any hope of life in Germany, they wanted to flee from their country, but there were strict ban on these people to go to the other countries. So the other countries did not allow them to come to their country, or the passport was not given to them. So facing all these problems, these refugees, they could not stay in their country, they could not go to the other country, and they become the refugees. So the title is Refugee Blues, the problems what they faced being a refugee. The theme, Refugee Blues by W.H. Auden, is a poem about the harsh realities of war. War, we see that there will be fight between two countries, but during war, what are the problems faced by the people? Their dear ones, loved ones will be fighting as a soldier, or common people will be killed during the war, and the basic needs, or they won't be enjoying their rights of living. So these are the few problems which people face during the war in any country. Here, this poem, it brings out the harsh realities of war, including themes such as loss, suffering and change. What have they lost? They have lost their dear ones, they have lost their property, they have lost their belongings. And what is the suffering? Now they can't stay in their country, they can't flee to other country, and after losing their dear ones and whatever they have earned, it is only suffering left for them. The changes, now they need to change their country. Leaving a place and moving to other place is not that easy, and here they are supposed to leave their country and find a shelter in some other country. That too was difficult for them. So these are the main themes of the poem. Auden is trying to convey the wastefulness of war. So war is just not winning or losing. It creates a great surge in the country where war has taken place. It is waste of money, waste of energy, waste of life. So many lives are sacrificed. Is that sacrifice worth? So this is the question here. So W.H. Auden, he says that it is war is a wastefulness. It is completely waste of everything. Next, we'll start with the poem. Say this city has 10 million souls. Some are living in mansions, some are living in holes. Yet there is no place for us, my dear. Yet there is no place for us. So I told you the rhyme scheme: souls, holes, and musicality of the poem. See, it is like a song sung, correct? So this song has rhyme scheme and also there is musicality, but there is the grievances, the problems, the sufferings, the loss of people. So the first line says, say this city has 10 million souls. So here we can see 10 million souls. It is hyperbole. The figure of speech is hyperbole, means it is said extremely too much, which is far from the reality, or literally it may be far from the reality. So this is what we call hyperbole in the English language. So we can see that here, say this city has 10 million souls. Souls means here the people, the citizen. Say this country has 10 million souls. Some are living in mansions, some are living in holes. How are they living? Some are very rich, they are living in mansions, and some are so poor that they have taken shelter in some holes. They do not have a proper house to stay. So he is telling that this is the difference in the country. This is what they are facing. Some live in mansions and some live in holes. But yet there is no place for us, my dear. There is no place for us. The one who are living in holes are better when compared to these people, because they don't have any place to live. So the poet is telling here, there is no place for us, my dear. There is no place for us. Once we had a country and we thought it fair. Look in the atlas and you will find it there. We cannot go there now, my dear. We cannot go there now. Again, the rhyme, fair, there. And here he is telling about the past. Once we had a country, we thought it's fair. So he says that once our country was so good that everything was fair here. It was not injustice or no prejudices or no partiality, no differences. It was so fair here, but now what has happened? So here he tells, look in the atlas, you will find it there. If you look in the atlas, even now the country is existing, even now the country is there, but we cannot go there now, my dear. We cannot go there now. There the country is existing and it is having some people also, but these people, the refugees, the Jews in German, they cannot go there now. Okay, so here he tries to tell that how these Jews were treated, how they were treated as outcast, or how they were ruthlessly beaten blue and black, how they were tortured, how they were killed. So it is not safe now to go there. Though the country is there to which we belonged once, now we can't go there. In the village churchyard, there grows an old eve. Every spring it blossoms anew. Old passports can't do that, my dear. Old passports can't do that. Here, in the village churchyard, there grows an old eve. Eve is a coniferous tree. So it is a berry tree. It bears berries in it, and he says every spring it blossoms anew. So in the spring season, definitely it blossoms. There are flowers in that plant. Every spring it blossoms. Where is this eve tree? It is in the churchyard. Old passports can't do that, my dear. Old passports can't do that. The tree is there. It is tree which lives for a long years. The tree is existing there, but our old passports cannot take us to that place. We cannot go to this church or where the tree is there. So he is comparing his life to the tree. The tree is there. Eve tree is existing even now, and it blossoms in every spring, but our passports are not allowed there. We cannot take our passports and reach that place. We cannot stay in that country now. The consul banged the table and said, if you have got no passport, you are officially dead. But we are still alive, my dear. But we are still alive. So, who is the consul? He is the officer. He is the migration officer. So, the migration officer says, bang the table and said. Bang the table means having this fist and hitting the table. Okay. So, this is bang the table. The consul banged the table and said, if you have got no passport, you are officially dead. If you do not have the passport, then you are officially dead. You are not alive. But what is the fact? But we are still alive, my dear. We are still alive. Yes, they are alive. But if they do not have the passport, it is officially dead person. Okay. So here it tells how the rules are. Even the rules are not fair. It is not with the people, with the Jews there. So it is only for few people who live in the mansion or those who are not the Jews. Went to a committee, they offered me a chair, asked me politely to return next year. But where shall we go today, my dear? But where shall we go today? So he's telling, so if we have a problem, where do we go? We do go to a committee or the authority, taking our grievances to them and hoping for the justice, correct? So here the poet tries to tell that went to a committee. We went to a committee. They offered me a chair. They made me sit. Very decently they made me sit and asked me politely. So very politely they said, return next year. We can't do anything now. You return next year. Maybe by next year when you come back, we'll do something for you. Okay. But the next year, till that, the 365 days, what should we do? Where are we going to live? So he's telling, but where shall we go today? It is next year. He asked me to come back next year. But till that, what about today? Today, where shall I go? Where should I live? What should I eat? Okay. So his worry is of that day. Next year is too far for him to think. But that day's survival was difficult to the poet. Came to a public meeting, the speaker got up and said, if we let them in, they will steal our daily bread. He was talking of you and me, my dear. He was talking of you and me. So here came to a public meeting where public were there. Meeting was held. Many people like us were there. But there the speaker, he got up and he said, what did the speaker say? That if we let them in, they will steal our daily bread. Who is them here? If we let them in, them means here the Jews, the German Jews. So he is telling, the speaker says, if we let them in, they will steal our daily bread. So let us not let them in. If the German Jews are allowed to live here, they will steal our daily bread. They will take away our daily bread. He was talking of you and me, my dear. He was talking of you and me. So he is telling it to the other Jews there, what they were facing, how they were living their life. So they were rejected by everyone. The committee said, come next year. The public speaker said, they'll steal our bread. So let us not allow them to stay here. Okay. So everyone is rejecting them. Thought I heard the thunder rumbling in the sky. It was Hitler over Europe saying they must die. We were in his mind, my dear, we were in his mind. See the comparison here. So here he says, thought I heard the thunder rumbling. So he heard a thunder rumbling. But was it thunder? No, it was the words of Hitler, Adolf Hitler. So it was Hitler over Europe. So he was telling to the whole Europe, what was he telling? That they must die. They means here the Jews in Germany. So Hitler, he took very harsh measures on the Jews. He made them suffer. He made them beat blue and black. He killed them without any mercy. Okay. So he says, the poet says here, Adolf Hitler, he announced or he made a proclamation that they must die. Who must die? The Jews must die. We were in his mind, my dear, we were in his mind. Again, we means here the Jews. Saw a poodle in a jacket fastened with a pin, saw a door opened and a cat let in, but they weren't German Jews, my dear, but they weren't German Jews. So he tells here the animals. Poodle is a breed of animal which has hair, long hair, and that fur is used for jackets and all. So he says, I saw a poodle in a jacket fastened with pin. We are not getting anything to eat. We are starving. We do not have for our daily bread. A piece of bread is a thing of dream for us. But here the poodle is fastened with jacket and a pin so that the poodle, the dog, will not feel the cold in the country. So the poodle, the dogs are treated so well. They are forced to wear the jacket and a pin so that it will keep them warm. And saw a door opened. So a door opened. The Jew was watching that. And what happened? The cat was let in. The cat, a small animal, that was let into the house. But the Jews were not allowed to get into the country. So what he says, but they weren't German Jews. They were poodle. It was a dog. It was a cat. They were allowed, but they were not the German Jews. Means here he is comparing himself to the cat and the dog. The life of cat and dog was far better than the German Jews. So he is telling they weren't German Jews, my dear. They weren't German Jews. Went down the harbor and stood upon the quay, saw the fish swimming as if they were free. Only 10 feet away, my dear, only 10 feet away. So he's telling harbor. Harbor means where the ship come and go. And quay. Quay means here where it is a platform where ships come and the loads are taken down. So here he says, went down the harbor. I went down the harbor and stood upon the quay, a platform. I stood upon the quay, saw the fish swimming as if they were free. So from there, from the platform, he saw that the fish were jumping. They were free. They were coming out of the water, taking the dip and enjoying. They were freely swimming. Only 10 feet away, my dear, only 10 feet away. Fish is free. It is enjoying its life. But these Jews, only at the distance of 10 feet, they are restricted. They are not allowed to lead their life. They are not allowed to be alive. They are killed. But the fish are free. They are enjoying their life. Walked through a wood, saw the birds in the trees. I walked through the woods and saw the birds in the trees. What were they doing? They had no politicians and sang at their ease. They weren't the human race, my dear. They weren't the human race. So he's telling, when I went through the woods, I saw the birds on the tree. What the birds were doing? They were at ease. They were singing at their ease. Whatever they want, however they wanted to sing, they are singing. Why? Because they don't have a politician. There is no politician among the birds. So these birds are enjoying. They are singing. They are free. They are very comfortable on the trees. So he is telling here, they weren't the human race. They are birds. They weren't the human race like us. They are not the humans. So they are enjoying their life. They weren't the human race, my dear. They weren't the human race. Dreamed I saw a building with 1,000 floors, 1,000 windows and 1,000 doors. Not one of them was ours, my dear. Not one of them was ours. So he's telling in his dream, he saw a building and that building had 1,000 floors. So many floors where many thousand people can live. So it had 1,000 windows and 1,000 doors, but none of them were open to these people. They were not ours. Not one of them was ours. None of the building or the floors, none of the doors or none of the windows were open for them. It was not for the Jews. Though there were so many buildings, so many houses, so many doors and windows, none of them was open to these people. Stood on a great plain in the falling snow, 10,000 soldiers marched to and fro, looking for you and me, my dear, looking for you and me. So he says, stood on a great plain. At the great plain, I stood and I was in the falling snow. Above me was the falling snow. I was on the open plain and from above it was the falling snow. I wasn't safe. I was not having any shelter. I was not safe. And above all this, what was happening? 10,000 soldiers marched to and fro. 10,000 soldiers were marching to and fro. They were taking the rounds. They were patrolling. What were they doing? So they were looking for you and me, my dear, looking for you and me. Why the soldiers were looking for these people? It was ordered by Hitler that if they see any Jews, they must be killed without any mercy. So mercilessly the Jews were killed in Germany during the Hitler's ruin. So here he is telling that I was in the open plain and there was falling snow on me, and also I saw that soldiers were walking to and fro. They were searching for me and you to kill us. So this poem tells us that how the life of Jews was during Second World War in Germany. Millions of people, Jews, were killed in Germany during this period. They were ruthlessly treated. They were beaten up. They were caged like animals. They were forcibly made to bleed. And these officers, they loved to see the bleeding people, the bleeding Jews. Okay, so this was the condition of This was the condition of Jews in Germany during the Second World War. So this is all about refugee blues. Now let us see which are the poetic devices used here. Metaphor. Metaphor is used here. How it is used? Hitler's voice is metaphorically described as thunder. So he says, I heard thunder rumbling. Thunder rumbling means the sound is used. The thunder rumbling, and that thunder is compared. Who is that thunder? It is Hitler over Europe. What did Hitler say? That they must be killed. So here Hitler's voice is metaphorically described as thunder, evoking not just the fear it creates, but also its ambient and inescapable quality. Okay. Then the alliteration. Alliteration means repetition of the sound. Walked through the wood. The consonant sound W is repeated. Walked through the wood uses alliterative W sounds. So W sound is used here. Thought I heard thunder rumbling. So here TH, the sound of TH, th is repeated. Thought I heard thunder rumbling. So here TH sound is used, and also thunder rumbling. In both the places the vowel U sound is repeated. So this is alliteration. So if it is the repetition of vowel sound, we call it as annoncence, and if it's a consonant sound, we call it as consonance. Next. So the next poetic device used here is irony. Okay. How the irony is used? As the speaker notes, individuals from Adolf Hitler to a citizen at a public meeting seem to consider the speaker and other German Jews very powerful and dangerous, becoming preoccupied with their presence, when in fact the speaker has almost no power or influence at all. So how the irony is here? Actually, Hitler, his soldiers, thousands of soldiers, they all thought that these Jews are very powerful. So, and they are dangerous. They are preoccupied with their presence. So, they believed that, or they thought that they are very strong. But actually what was happening there? The fact was that speaker has almost no power or no influence at all. The speaker did not have any influence or power, but how were they projected or how they were believed were like these people, the Jews, had great power, they had great influence, or they were there to create some problem to Hitler. Actually, they did not create any problem, but this is how it is presented in the poem. So, that is irony. The consul announces that the speaker is legally dead despite the presence of the living speaker. So, here what is said that the speaker, if you do not have the passport, you are officially dead. But are they really dead? No, the speaker and the other Jews are living, they are alive, but it is said that they are dead. This is irony. The dog and cat are treated humanly and kindly, though the human refugees are not. So, humans should be treated well, they should be treated kindly, but humans are not treated humanly, but animals, dogs and cats are treated humanly here. Then the speaker has sought refuge in a foreign country only to discover that the new country is a site of exclusion and cruelty. Okay, now there is no place for them in Germany. So they went to other country for some shelter. But what happened there? It is explored that there is more cruelty in that country too. So believing that the other country is safer is an irony here. Even there they do not have any proper shelter or no kindness towards these Jews. Then personification. In stanza 9, fish are described as swimming as if they were free. So how the fish are said? As if they are free. While in stanza 10, birds are described as singing at their ease. So this being free or being at ease, all these are for humans. So that is compared to the animals here, fish and the birds. So this is personification, personifying something which is not human. Okay. Then in the first example, the speaker actually stares narrowly clear of personification. So it is narrowly clear that the fishes are free, swimming free in the lake, but it is not free or anything. They don't have all those feelings. Only humans crave for freedom, not the animals or birds. In the latter example, where it is the example of birds at their ease, birds are in fact mildly personified. So the mild personification is seen in the second example. Next, hyperbole. Numbers in this poem are generally hyperbolic, like 1,000 million people, 1,000 souls, 100 of soldiers. See here, are presented as such by being round numbers rather than specific amounts. So all 1,000, 100, like that, it is a round number, and these include figures like 10 million souls, 1,000 floors, 1,000 doors, 1,000 windows, and 10,000 soldiers. They walk to and fro. Here all it is the number, it is a round figure and it is not actual one. So actually the number was not exactly 10,000 or 1,000 floors or something. So this is called hyperbole, where it is extremely figured, which is far from the fact or reality. Onomatopoeia is the sound produced. Okay, whatever happens, the same sound is produced. The word banged, as used in stanza 4. So here the council banged the table. So that is the sound made when a table is hit. So that sound is used here. Is onomatopic. The phrase thunder rumbling. So rumbling, thunder, rumbling. It is the sound of thunder. The sound is tried to be imitated here. So thunder, rumbling, and in stanza 7 mimics the sound of thunder. So these are the examples for onomatopoeia, means the same sound is produced by using some words in English. So this is all about the poem Refugee Blues and the poetic devices used there. To conclude, the climax of the poem is in its final line as soldiers search for the speaker. What does he say is that they are looking for you and me, my dear. They are looking for you and me. So here that tells that what was actually happening. That was the climax. For that, the poem is completely written. It is in every part of the country what these Jews are suffering. That is told in this poem. 10,000 soldiers marched to and fro looking for you and me, my dear, looking for you and me. This line tells that. So how was the condition? So they were searching for what? To kill these Jews. Okay. So this is the poem Refugee Blues. Hope you have understood it well. And in the next session, I'll come up with one more poem to you. Till then, take care, bye-bye, and thank you.